George Floyd was born on October 14, 1973 in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Known affectionately by his family and friends as Perry, Floyd grew up in Houston's Third Ward, a community with deep roots in African American history. The Third Ward was a place of cultural vibrancy but also faced significant socio-economic challenges. Floyd's upbringing in this neighborhood shaped much of his early life and experiences. His childhood was marked by a sense of responsibility, particularly after his parents separated. As the eldest sibling, Floyd assumed the role of a father figure, supporting and guiding his younger brothers and sisters. Despite the hardships, his family maintained strong ties, which instilled in him a sense of resilience and perseverance. This resilience was a defining aspect of George Floyd's character throughout his life. Floyd's life was also intertwined with America's turbulent racial history. His ancestors were enslaved, and the family eventually lost their farmland due to fraudulent schemes by white officials, a painful reminder of the systemic injustices that pervaded their lives. This legacy of struggle and resilience was a backdrop to Floyd's own journey, influencing his worldview and aspirations. The rich cultural tapestry of the Third Ward also offered Floyd a sense of identity and community. Despite the area's struggles, it was a place where residents looked out for each other and where Floyd developed his aspirations and dreams. This close-knit community would remain significant in shaping his values and ambitions as he grew older. During his high school years at Jack Yates Senior High School, Floyd excelled in both football and basketball. His athletic prowess was evident, and he quickly became a standout player on his teams. Sports provided him not only with an outlet for expression and discipline but also served as a beacon of hope for a brighter future. His coaches and teammates admired him for his dedication and leadership on and off the field. Despite his talents, Floyd's journey was not without hurdles. His dreams of taking his athletic skills to the next level were challenged by the realities of navigating a system that often favored those with economic privilege. Nonetheless, he persevered, believing in his potential to succeed against the odds. His commitment to his sports was a testament to his determination and resilience. Floyd briefly attended Texas A&M University on a sports scholarship, an opportunity that allowed him to further his education and athletic career. However, his college journey was short-lived due to personal and financial challenges. Returning to Houston, Floyd faced the daunting task of redefining his path and finding new ways to achieve his goals. Education remained a significant aspiration for Floyd. Despite leaving college early, he valued learning and hoped to one day influence change within the justice system. His early aspiration to become a Supreme Court judge reflected his desire to address the injustices he witnessed in his community, showcasing his deep sense of social responsibility. In the early 2000s, George Floyd found another avenue for expression through music. He became known as Big Floyd in Houston's hip-hop scene, collaborating with legendary artist DJ Screw. Music provided Floyd with a creative outlet and a platform to voice his experiences and the struggles of those around him. The burgeoning Houston music scene offered him community and support, further cementing his ties to the city. However, as Floyd pursued his music career, he simultaneously faced legal challenges that would impact his life significantly. He had multiple encounters with the law, primarily related to drug offenses, and in 2007, he was involved in an armed robbery for which he served 5 years in prison. These legal troubles were part of a broader narrative of systemic issues affecting many African Americans in similar circumstances, highlighting the deep-rooted disparities within the justice system. Despite these setbacks, Floyd's time in prison became a period of reflection and transformation. He emerged with a renewed determination to change the direction of his life. His experiences made him acutely aware of the need for systemic reform, and he hoped to advocate for others facing similar struggles upon his release. Floyd's journey was emblematic of the challenges faced by many in marginalized communities. His legal troubles were not just personal missteps but a reflection of larger societal failures. Yet through it all, he remained hopeful for a better future, holding on to his dreams and the possibility of redemption. In 2017, George Floyd moved to Minneapolis seeking a fresh start and new opportunities. The decision to relocate was fueled by his desire to turn his life around, away from the shadows of his past. Minneapolis represented hope and possibility, a place where he could rebuild and redefine his path. He embraced this chance with optimism, determined to make the most of his new environment. Upon arriving in Minneapolis, Floyd engaged in various jobs, including working at the Salvation Army and as a bouncer at a local nightclub. These roles highlighted his willingness to work hard and integrate into the community. Additionally, he completed a substance abuse rehabilitation program, underscoring his commitment to personal growth and recovery. His efforts were a testament to his resilience and desire to overcome past challenges. Unfortunately, Floyd faced personal setbacks during his time in Minneapolis. The deaths of his mother and a close roommate weighed heavily on him, exacerbating the difficulties he faced. Moreover, the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 brought unprecedented challenges, further destabilizing his already precarious situation. Despite these obstacles, Floyd remained resolute in his pursuit of a better life. He was known for his kindness and generosity, often described by those who knew him as a gentle giant. His presence in Minneapolis was marked by his continuous efforts to uplift himself and those around him, striving for stability and peace. Section 5. The Fateful Day, May 25, 2020. On May 25, 2020, a series of events would tragically unfold, leading to George Floyd's untimely death. The incident began with a call to the police, accusing Floyd of using a counterfeit $20 bill at Cup Foods in Minneapolis. The situation escalated rapidly when police officers arrived at the scene. What transpired next would shock the world and ignite a movement for justice and reform. Officer Derek Chauvin, one of the responding officers, restrained Floyd by kneeling on his neck for over 9 minutes. Despite Floyd's pleas for help and cries of "I can't breathe," the officers failed to intervene. This brutal and senseless act was captured on video by a bystander, Darnella Frazier, whose recording quickly went viral. The footage laid bare the harrowing reality of police brutality and systemic racism, sparking outrage across the globe. Floyd's death was not just a personal tragedy but a catalyst for change. The image of a man pleading for his life became a powerful symbol of the fight against racial injustice. The cries of "I can't breathe" resonated with millions, drawing attention to the urgent need for reform in policing and the justice system. The incident underscored the harsh realities faced by Black individuals in America, igniting a movement that demanded accountability and change. In the immediate aftermath of Floyd's death, the community and the world at large grappled with grief and anger. Vigils and protests erupted, calling for justice and honoring Floyd's memory. His death became a turning point, highlighting the systemic issues of racial inequality and galvanizing people worldwide to demand change. The legal proceedings following George Floyd's death were closely watched by millions around the world. Derek Chauvin, the officer who knelt on Floyd's neck, was charged with second-degree murder among other charges. His trial was a pivotal moment, symbolizing the quest for accountability in a justice system often criticized for its failures in cases involving police violence against Black individuals. In April 2021, Chauvin was convicted of second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. He was sentenced to 22.5 years in prison, a decision that many saw as a significant step towards justice. However, this was not just about one man's conviction. It was a reflection of a larger call for systemic change. The verdict was a moment of relief for many who viewed it as a necessary acknowledgement of the wrongs committed. The other officers involved, J. Alexander Queng, Tao Tao, and Thomas Lane, faced charges for their roles in the incident. Queng was convicted of violating Floyd's civil rights and aiding and abetting second-degree manslaughter, with his federal sentence intersecting with the state charges. The trials and convictions became chapters in the broader narrative of seeking justice and reform. While the legal outcomes provided some measure of accountability, they also highlighted the broader systemic issues that needed addressing. The legal proceedings served as a catalyst for discussions on police reform, the role of law enforcement, and the profound need for changes in policies and practices to prevent future tragedies. In the wake of George Floyd's death, a wave of protests erupted across the United States and around the world. The Black Lives Matter movement, which had been steadily growing, gained unprecedented momentum as people took to the streets to voice their anger and demand justice. These demonstrations were some of the largest in U.S. history, with millions participating to call for an end to systemic racism and police brutality. The global protests were a powerful testament to Floyd's impact and the universal desire for change. From Minneapolis to London, Tokyo to Sydney, people of all backgrounds united in solidarity. The movement transcended borders, highlighting the pervasive issues of racial inequality and the urgent need for reform. The protests served as a wake-up call for governments and institutions, urging them to address long-standing injustices. In addition to the street demonstrations, social media played a crucial role in amplifying the movement's message. Platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook became tools for awareness and activism, allowing individuals to share their experiences and rally support for change. The hashtag #JusticeForGeorgeFloyd trended worldwide, symbolizing a collective call for accountability and reform. The impact of these protests was profound, leading to discussions on police reform and racial equity at local, national, and international levels. In the U.S., cities implemented changes in policing policies, and conversations around defunding and restructuring police forces gained traction. The global response underscored the importance of sustained advocacy and the power of collective action in shaping a more just and equitable world. The story of George Floyd's life and death continued to resonate, sparking further discussions and recognitions. In 2023, the book His Name is George Floyd by Robert Samuels and Toulouse Olorunnipa won the Pulitzer Prize. The book delved into Floyd's life, exploring the systemic issues that contributed to his death and highlighting his legacy. This recognition underscored the importance of telling Floyd's story as part of a broader narrative of racial justice and reform. In addition to literary accolades, Floyd's family received a historic civil settlement from the city of Minneapolis. The $27 million settlement was one of the largest of its kind, and served as a recognition of the profound impact of Floyd's death on his family and the community. While the settlement could not address the deep pain of their loss, it was a significant gesture of accountability and acknowledgement of the wrongs committed. These recognitions and settlements were part of a larger societal reckoning with the issues of racial inequality and justice. They highlighted the need for continued advocacy and reform, emphasizing that the fight for racial equity was far from over. Floyd's story became a touchstone for discussions on policy changes, community support, and the importance of addressing systemic disparities. The legacy of George Floyd extended beyond these recognitions, serving as a reminder of the ongoing struggle for justice and the need for sustained efforts to address racial inequities. His story inspired a new generation of activists and leaders dedicated to creating a more just and inclusive society. George Floyd's tragic death was a catalyst for a global movement demanding justice and reform. His legacy is enduring, representing the ongoing fight against racial injustice and the quest for equality. Floyd's story has inspired countless individuals and organizations to advocate for change, highlighting the urgent need for systemic reform in policing and beyond. His daughter Gianna poignantly summed up his impact when she said, "Daddy changed the world." This statement encapsulates the profound influence Floyd's life and death have had on the global consciousness. His story has become a symbol of the fight for racial justice, inspiring efforts to address the root causes of inequality and discrimination. Floyd's legacy is also reflected in the continued advocacy for the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act, a legislative proposal aimed at addressing police misconduct and accountability. Although the act has faced challenges in Congress, its introduction and discussion underscore the need for comprehensive reform. Local measures and executive orders have been implemented, reflecting the impact of Floyd's legacy on policy and practice. As the world continues to grapple with issues of racial injustice, George Floyd's story serves as a reminder of the work that remains to be done. His life and death have galvanized a movement, inspiring individuals to strive for a more just and equitable society. Floyd's legacy is a testament to the power of collective action and the enduring impact of one man's life on the world.